Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Al once again right here on Twitch, streaming live for my subscribers. And if you're watching on YouTube after it, on the on-demand version of this cast, let's see how many likes we can get for this one show, the Week 10 first look on DraftKings, going over my process on how I want to look at building a head-to-head lineup on DraftKings. The players aren't important. Do not take this lineup and try and jam it in there. We are making this, it is 10:36 in the morning on Monday of Week 10. Everything is going to change throughout the week. We're going to get injury news from practice reports. We are going to have my Best Buys article come out, podcasts on Thursday, question and answer on Friday, and then inactives on Sunday morning. So this lineup is probably not going to look exactly like the lineup that you should be playing on Sunday, but it's going to give you a process look on how we're going to break down our decision making for Week 10 of NFL. So if you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook, let's see how many likes we can get on this video. I think we got over 200 on last week's. Let's see if we can get over 300 on this week's video. And if you have not yet, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. So let's get right to the sheet. What is this, 11 games? We've got 11 games on this slate. Some people have said that it's kind of a yucky looking, bad looking slate. I can see that we got some teams that we can already attack from early. Oh, jeez. Let's see what else we got. All right, those are the afternoon games. And obviously the 20-minute hammer starting at 125. We got two 20-minute hammers, Dallas, Atlanta, which I assume is going to be very high scoring, and New York Giants and San Francisco. Going to be interested to see where I end up there. So quarterbacks, as we know, Dak Prescott is very good. Drew Brees, fine. Stafford against Cleveland. Cleveland's been very, very giving. It is the giving season. It's almost Thanksgiving. They've been very giving to opposing quarterbacks and tight ends and everything else. I'm going to get my exposure to Stafford probably with other positions. Jared Goff been massively priced up after his big week last week. Definitely a bully. Going up against Houston, probably not going to be on Jared Goff this week, but I'm sure people will coming off of the week that he just had. Matt Ryan down at 6,500. We want to get, good Lord, they priced up Josh McCown. Shaking my fist at Markness. McCown's been solid. I mean, 6,100 is not terrible. Need 18 points for head-to-head, right? He's gotten there 3 of the past 4 weeks. Missed it slightly here. Here he was 4,500 against Cleveland. 6,100, I think he's in play. But let's see if we can get cheaper. Cincinnati really good against quarterbacks, and it's an in-division game, though it is in Tennessee. Marcus Mariota starting to get on the right side of touchdown variance through a red zone touchdown, his first of the season. Things just haven't been right for him so far. He's definitely going to have a big game before the season's over. I just don't know when it's going to be. And I would assume it's not going to come against Cincinnati, who's one of the top 2 teams in the league in terms of like DVOA against quarterbacks, or at least fantasy points per attempt against opposing quarterbacks. Eli Manning against San Francisco. I mean, I don't know if I can pull the trigger. I don't know if I want any Eli in my life. Wonder if is Garoppolo starting, chat? Do we think he's starting yet at 5K against the Giants? Sorry, Bengals not in their division. You're right. Thinking off the top of my head. Pittsburgh also really good. Pittsburgh also really good defensively against the pass. Brissett still cheap. Phil Rivers against Jacksonville. Definitely don't ever really want to attack them. Fitzpatrick, though, would take a lot of balls to put Eli in. I agree. 2-piece. All right, so Dalton against Tennessee. Tennessee's pass defense has been very suspect. We could go back to Dalton. We could go to Bortles here, even though I think that's more of a running spot. He's been okay. Needs around just under 15 points to be a cash game viable. Same for Fitzpatrick. If Winston is still hurt, if he doesn't play against the Jets, and everybody's fine in this game, I'm not against Ryan Fitzpatrick there. Let's just keep it safe right now. Let's go with Andy Dalton, but recognize that those guys are down low are also. Oh, that's right. Green's suspended. Green's probably, for throwing a punch. He's probably going to be out. Fitzpatrick or Bortles. I'm just going to go Fitzpatrick. Assuming that Winston is going to be out this week with that shoulder issue in his throwing arm. He can't really get anything on the ball. There are definitely targets for him to hit that have talent with Brate and Howard and Evans and Djax. I like taking cheap quarterbacks that have guys around them that can actually play. So Fitzmagic with Winston out, I don't mind that. Revenge game, too. At least he's still got the beard in the picture. Mike Evans will get 20 targets. Man, that would be awesome. All right, so top priced running backs. Bell supremely priced up at 9,800. And against Indy, who's been horrible, he's going to be popular. But I think I'd almost rather go with AB here. Indy allowing so many downfield targets that I might like to go with AB in this situation over Lev. But let's see how it breaks down, because I haven't looked at all the running backs, right? So like we talked about this on the recap show about the running back situation in New Orleans and how I just don't think we're going to know, right? A ton of carries, a ton of targets, a ton of catches all season. He fumbles twice in week 8, and all of a sudden Mark Ingram not getting any more love in the passing game. Alvin Kamara fumbles in week 9, still gets all the looks, right? But look at his rates. Everything stayed the same, right? It's not like Kamara got like more touches massively than he had been getting. 10 attempts versus 8, 9, 10, 6 receptions, 3, 5, 3. Like this is his range. He just broke a longer, he scored 2 touchdowns and broke longer plays. But like if you take those 12 points away, it's 20 points, which is kind of where he's been on volume alone. The volume change was here with Ingram, where he had typically been getting 22, 25, 27 touches combined on the season. I don't know. I don't think that Kamara's role has really changed. I think he just capitalized. And I think Ingram's role was a little bit different because I don't think they had as many plays from scrimmage. I'm going to have to go back and look at that. Interesting situation here, definitely for New Orleans, because they're running so much through the running backs. Melvin Gordon, interesting at 7,200. Jacksonville, a very good defense, but allowing well over 100 yards on the ground to opposing running backs. Melvin Gordon, except for that 87-yard run, has not been very efficient at all. If you take that 87-yard run away, he was 13 for 54 or 50-something yards. Really low yards per carry on the season, as you can see, but has been very involved in the passing game for a few weeks, but then other weeks not. 0 of 2, 1 of 3, 1 of 4, 1 of 2. So like his volume seems to just fluctuate massively. I don't know if I'm comfortable with him for a cash game. Carlos Hyde, this is something that I do like. And going up against the Giants, who have been just god-awful recently, and look like they're just quitting. They just don't have any sort of fire. 6, 8, 9, 11. 34 targets the last 4 weeks for a running back that is going to get the goal line carries if they ever get any. And at home against the Giants defense, very well might. And at 6,300, I think that he's a very solid play. So let's plug him real quick. We got 4,800. By the way, defense, we always just plug in somebody around 3K, so whatever. Oh, I actually like the Bears against Green Bay. So plug in the 3K defense just so we get this average remaining per player price, right? That's not saying the Bears are going to be the plug-and-play defense, but just so we have a better idea of where we're looking at. Beathard throws to running back. You almost have to, right? We've said the same thing about Jacoby Brissett. Can't really get the ball downfield as much, or wasn't able to until this last week. Against Houston. So that's why Doyle's targets have just gone through the roof, right? Same philosophy in San Francisco. That's a good point in the chat. Will Hyde get suspended? I don't know, but for right now, again, this is the first look. Let's look at him to see what happens. I mean, everybody was getting kicked out of games yesterday, and Mike Evans came in and blindsided somebody after Jameis poked him in the back of the head, and he didn't get kicked out of the game, but like AJ Green and somebody else did. So just absolutely crazy, right? Chris Thompson, Freeman against the Cowboys, and we might actually pay down and get volume at running back this week. Like Freeman's volume has just not been there. McCoy, always a good play, but New Orleans has been good. And that's coming off of a really bad performance from Buffalo. So you might be able to expect a bounce back here at home against New Orleans, going on the road. Elliott, if he plays, who knows? Gurley, seemingly always in play, even though Houston has been spectacular. Fournette against the I will say Clippers again. Fournette against the Chargers, to me, seems like a solid play here as well. We can plug him, giving us 4,400. Let's move to tight end to see if we can find some value. They finally priced up Jack Doyle. Finally. It only took 5 weeks, right? 3,700, got 7 targets, came down, 11 targets, went up 100, got 7 more targets, went up to 43, got 14 targets. Last week he was also at 43, got 9 targets. They finally priced him up to 5,200. GPP only for me here for Jack Doyle. Pittsburgh, not a defense that I want to target with pass catchers. Howard, a running back who would also be in play. Somebody just pointed that out in chat. 6,100 against Green Bay's putrid defense. We might plug him in at flex and see what we can do at tight end, giving us 3.9K average. So we're going to have to find some value. We usually find that at tight end. Flowchart life, right? Here's flowchart life for you. So we want to attack the Giants and we want to attack the Browns with tight ends. Kittle at 3,200. Not going to be against you here. You know, searching for touchdown upside, needs 9 points to reach value for head-to-head games. Fells, not getting the ball thrown to him unless they're in the red zone. You need a touchdown from Fells. He's not going to get you value on volume alone. Eric Ebron will drop everything and scares the hell out of me. I do think that one of these Cleveland tight ends is going to catch a touchdown this week. I think that Kittle right now on Monday looks like the safe tight end play for cheap. I'm sure there are going to be more on the slate, but I think he gives us enough value right there that we can go for it at least a little bit. And we can look at the other tight ends here just to see. God, I'm not playing Ebron. I won't do it. You can't make me. Fleener, no volume whatsoever. Who else do we have? Cooper Kupp, the forgotten man, plug in this week. Interesting. Ebron 4 for 4, 4 touchdown catches. 4 touchdowns, 4 catches this week. Fells at 2,500 is fine for a punt, but realize again, you're going to have to get a touchdown out of him for him to pay off. Looking at higher priced, these guys are now priced like wide receivers. I suggest if you're going to look at them, compare Doyle and Ingram to wide receivers at that same price range, 6,200, 62 and 5,200, and see if the wide receivers from 6K to 65 and 5K to 55 have comparable amounts of projectable targets if you're trying to play one of those guys, because it's essentially going to be like getting a 4th wide receiver, though I wouldn't want to play him against them. Juju also in play this week if you wanted to go with somebody who can get deep against this Indianapolis defense. It's allowing so many deep receptions and so high a completion percentage on those deep receptions, 15 yards and longer. Certainly in play. Shepard, though, very interesting as well. 9 targets. Nobody else to throw the ball to but Shepard and Ingram right now, going up against San Francisco, who plays up in pace and forces you to move the ball a little bit. Could be solid there. Don't know if we can afford him right now because that would basically put us at min salary for our final guy, at least with this lineup build that we have now. I definitely think that Shepard's in play for the week. Anderson, if you want to attack Tampa Bay's horrible defense against the pass, one of the most giving teams in the league. Rams are way up in price. Watkins up to 48. Woods up to, Woods doesn't get a ton. He had 2 touchdowns this week. Like, this is where Woods lives, right? This is where he lives. And right now he needs 15 points to pay off. And he only got there this week because he had 2 touchdowns. He would have had another 11-point week without those 2 touchdowns. Probably not considering him. So we got to find some value. Can't play Woods at that price. Yeah, I think if we're being very price sensitive, I do think that that's too high. I think Marquise Lee is in play, 4,100 for the amount of targets that he's getting. I don't know that I want 2 Jaguars in my lineup, though, at least to start. Ryan Grant getting more love in that offense as well. Needs about 12 to pay off. Decker finally caught a touchdown. His wife posted on Snapchat. San Francisco wide receivers also interesting against the Giants. They're going to be cheap. Goodwin gives you downfield upside. Saw 8 targets. We already have 2 San Francisco Giants in our lineup. I don't want to go with like a San Francisco super stack here. I don't want to go with a 49ers onslaught in cash games. Probably not where I'm looking this week. Doxson is interesting, though he is going to be squaring off against Minnesota, who's been extremely stingy. getting more and more involved in that offense. Is there a cheap wide receiver that we can play? Is there anybody down here that we think might be playable? Not enough targets for Humphreys. Like, I may have to come off of Fournette and come down a little bit in this lineup to try and fit somebody in, because I don't really love these super cheap guys. Maybe the 4K guys up in here. Curse. I do want to attack the Tampa Bay secondary, though. So, like, we can go Robbie Anderson here. That leaves us with 3,400. Not gonna attack Jacksonville. Lewis, Tavares King got a bunch of targets last week, and especially red zone targets as well. Might be kind of a punt play to go with. Don't know that I'm comfortable with him in cash yet. LaFell, if Green is suspended. Let's look at Cincinnati's wide receivers. So if Green gets suspended for throwing that punch, not sure they're going to play John Ross. Josh Malone was getting some love earlier this season. And his target count's been rising. His snap count's been rising. He's going to be interesting if he gets suspended. Cody Core, not considering him. LaFell at 3,800 will be interesting. As will the tight end Tyler Kroft at 3,600. Somebody you're going to have to consider if A.J. Green is out. Mixon only at 4,900 against Tennessee. Somebody you're going to have to consider, especially if A.J. Green is out. Tyler Boyd. Not going to play John Ross. I think Josh Malone might be the guy. Boyd best play? Possibly. Have to check with him on practices as the week goes on. But that's a lot of targets to be consumed. And I think that it's probably going to end up being one of these guys. For now, let's plug in Josh Malone because Boyd's got that out by him. Erickson not getting any targets. I think that Josh Malone's going to see an uptick if A.J. Green is out in terms of his snap count, his routes run, and his target percentage on the week. So that's going to be my first look lineup right there. I'm not hating that. I mean, I could also come up a little bit by paying down on defense, right? Like if we wanted to come and go for a really cheap defense to see, and they're never tasty. They're never somebody that you really like looking down here, right? Like Cowboys at 22. They're always tough spots. You know, Boyd was the play last year when A.J. Green was out. Yeah, I agree, but he was the guy last year. Right now he's injured. So, like, if it's going to depend, like I said, listen to Stefania and see what happens throughout the week as that goes on. Bills against New Orleans, playing against Road Breeze, interesting. Falcons defense against Dallas. If Zeke is actually out, might be an interesting play. But, I mean, I'm kind of okay with this. We have Fitzpatrick. Did not pair him with anybody, so naked cheap quarterback once again. Carlos Hyde getting a ton of value and volume at 6,300. Leonard Fournette, ton of volume, all the goal line work. Howard gonna keep getting fed against Green Bay and has a positional advantage versus against DVP. Antonio Brown, possibly the best wide receiver in the league. Robbie Anderson, great matchup against Tampa Bay. So if Fitzpatrick goes off and keeps them scoring, that means that Robbie Anderson's going to keep getting fed the ball as well. Josh Malone just looking for a punt. So by Sunday, we should have a sub $3,400 wide receiver that might pop up based on injury or whatnot, that we have an idea that we can actually hone in on as the play for this weekend as the last man into our lineup. George Kittle taking advantage of the Giants' inefficiency against tight ends. Jordan Howard, we already mentioned, and the Bears defense giving him a nice correlation with them. I'm just looking for a mid-price defense to kind of make the lineup work. So that's my first look for week 10. Tell me what you think about it down in the comments. Let's see how many likes that we can get on this video, and please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you guys for being here once again, and good luck to you in NBA and as NFL Week 10 gets here.